Oh boy, I'm back and I'm excited to show you the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, or Super Nintendo Mini. This is a re-release of the Super Nintendo with 21 built-in games, and these things were pretty hard to find at first, but Nintendo restocked, thank God, because I wasn't about to pay no $300 to get this guy. You get a bunch of games, including Star Fox 2, which was never released, and that's really cool. On the side, it's a super retro blast from the past with the return of an all-time fan favorite, the Super Nintendo system. This mini Super Nintendo Classic Edition is packed with over 20 pre-installed classic Nintendo games and a bunch of other stuff. And these are the games. So we have a list right here, but it's more fun to look at the pictures. We got Super Mario RPG, that's awesome. I love that game. It has great music. It's really fun. Super Mario World, my favorite 2D Mario game that's really good. Contra 3 is really hard, but I like it. I still prefer hardcore, but since this is a Super Nintendo collection, we get Contra 3, and it sucks that we can't get a good re-release Sega Genesis, because At Games is fucking awful at re-releasing systems. A Link to the Past, amazing. It's a little hard for me, actually, and I'm more used to the 3D ones, but A Link to the Past is still pretty good. Super Mario Kart, I think Mario 64 is better, but this one is still pretty good. Yoshi's Island is really good. I had the Game Boy Advanced version, but it's nice to have the Super Nintendo version. Star Fox, the original, I prefer the 64 version, but this one's alright. I'd also recommend Star Fox Zero, but the controls are a little iffy. I've actually never played Kirby's Dream Course, but it looks like a golf game, so that's awesome. Final Fantasy III, it's actually one of my favorite RPGs. Final Fantasy VI in Japan, but everyone knows that. It's really good that we have it on there, so thank you, Nintendo. Kirby Superstars, my favorite Kirby game. The DS version is a little bit better. There's more to it and has better graphics, but it's nice to have it. Super Metroid is my second favorite Metroidvania game, the first one being Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I just think that one's so much better. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, that is a Ghost and Goblin sequel, really hard, but I like it. I'd say it's my favorite one, and I like the double jump. Earthbound, one of my favorite RPGs. It's this quirky little thing that's a weird mishmash of like the Peanuts and a weird Lovecraftian horror story. I like it. Kind of reminds me of It, actually, because you got kids fighting this weird entity that can change. I like it. F-Zero, it's pretty good. My favorite F-Zero is F-Zero GX, but this one's nice. We got Secret of Mana, which I've never played, but I saw the remake, and the remake looks good, and this looks pretty good as well, so it'd be fun to try this out. Mega Man X is pretty awesome. I already have this on the GameCube, but it'd be cool to play it with the original controller. Donkey Kong Country, I would have preferred 2 on this collection, but number 1's still really good. It's cool that we have that. Ooh, getting blurry again. Super Castlevania 4 is really good. It has really good music, really good gameplay. I'm shocked that they don't use the 8 directional whip, but whatever. It's how they want to do it. Super Punch-Out's pretty fun. I've only played it a few times, but it has really good music and it's really nice. And of course, Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It's sad we don't have Super Street Fighter 2 on here, because that had more characters. But Street Fighter 2 Turbo is still pretty good, so that's awesome. And of course, Star Fox 2, which was never released because Nintendo... I've heard conflicting stories. Either Nintendo didn't want Argonaut to release it because it would make the Star Fox 64 game look bad, or it was just released too late and they wanted to push out the N64. But we have it now, and it's really cool that they officially released this. And you can unlock it, which is weird, by completing the first stage of Star Fox, so cool. What's this rated? T for teen. Weird. Suggestive themes, violence, and mob blood. What's on the back? Same thing. Same thing. Oh, it's a controller this time. Nice. And the classics. Now let's get this bad... Oh, wait. Before I open it up, I want to compare its size. Because this is a tiny box. It's a little box. So... Senran Kagura over it, and it's blurry. There we go. So Kagura is about half the size. Alrighty, let's get this bad boy out of the box. And it's out of the box, and this is it. This tiny little system. This isn't the real controller port. You pull this thing down. You pull, doing this with one hand here, this part down, you pull it, and that's how you get it. Because this is what the controllers look like, the controller jack. It's the same one used for the Wii Classic controller, so if you have a Super Nintendo games on your Wii, you can actually play it with this. This feels a lot like the original controller. There's no new buttons added, like no menu button. Everything feels really nice and precise. And you got a phone charger for the wall outlet. You got a poster and a manual, which is really nice. And just for comparison's sake, it's about my new DS is bigger. So I'm gonna plug this in and try it out. This looks really good, and I cannot wait to play my games.